All right. A monopolist's inverse demand function is P equals 100 minus Q. The marginal costs MC1 equals 4Q1. MC2 equals 2Q2. Right? So first thing they're asking us, derive the marginal revenue function. All right. So remember, colleagues, in order to get the marginal revenue function, you need to first get the total revenue. Because marginal revenue, which is the additional revenue you get whenever you make or sell an extra unit. All right. So we're going to say total revenue equals price times quantity. Okay. So the price here, this P here, 100 minus Q multiplied by Q. So Q times 100, that is 100Q, minus Q times Q, that is Q squared. Okay, that equals Q squared. Right. So the marginal revenue is the derivative of the total revenue. Okay. So you're going to say marginal revenue, MR, is the derivative of the total revenue. So you're going to derive the total revenue function with respect to Q. I believe we all remember differentiation. When we derive 100Q, that becomes 100 minus, when we derive Q squared, we're going to get 2Q. All right. So our marginal revenue is equal to 100 minus 2Q. Any questions? Okay. Part 2, determine the profit maximizing output for each facility. Okay. So first thing remember is this. Whenever you've got two marginal cost functions, always remember that also your total output, Q, is equal to the output for the first facility plus the output for the second facility. Okay, because you've got two different facilities that got their different costs, and obviously each of them will be producing a different output. So in total, their total output, as you can see, there's a Q1 here and there's a Q2 here. So when you combine these two outputs, okay, they're going to give you the overall Q here. So you have to keep this in mind. Okay, this is a point you need to remember. So now that's going to determine the profit maximizing output for each facility. So remember, colleagues, that profit maximization occurs where marginal revenue equals marginal cost. Now we've got two marginal costs here. Okay. So you need to either express Q in terms of Q1 or you need to express Q in terms of Q2. Okay. So that you can find one output, then get the other output. Okay. So first things first, we need to express Q either in terms of Q1 or Q2. So what we're going to do is we're going to equate these two marginal costs here. Okay, we're going to express these two marginal costs here. So we're going to say MC1 equals MC2. All right. So MC1 is 4Q1 and MC2 is 2Q2. All right. So we need to simplify this expression. So we can divide both sides by 2. If we divide both sides by 2, we're going to have 2Q1 equals Q2. Okay. 2Q1 equals Q2. All right. So as I said, we need to express this Q here in either Q1 in terms of Q1 or Q2. So it's up to you to choose. So we say, okay, let's express this Q1, this Q in terms of Q1. So it means this Q2 here, we need to substitute it. Remember, Q2 equals 2Q1 here. All right. So this expression here, let me put it back here. Q equals Q1 plus Q2. So we're expressing Q in terms of Q1, meaning Q1 here stays as it is, plus we are substituting this Q2 with this 2Q1 here. Okay, remember Q2 equals 2Q1, so we're going to bring it here. 2Q1. Okay, so Q1 plus 2Q1, this gives us 3Q1. Okay, Q equals 3Q1. Okay, because as I said, you need to first express Q either in terms of Q1 or Q2. So in this case, we're going to express Q in terms of Q1, and this is the expression we're going to use. Q equals 3Q1. Any questions before I move further? Okay, so we come back to our expression here. Marginal revenue equals marginal cost. So we're going to say marginal revenue equals the first marginal cost. Okay, we're going to work with this one first. Since we've expressed Q in terms of Q1, so we'll work with this MCQ1 first. All right. So our marginal revenue is 100 minus 2Q equals MC1 is equal to 4Q1. Right. So this Q here, we're going to replace it. All right. So it's going to become 100 minus 2. Then this Q, we substitute it with 3Q1 here. Equals 4Q1. Okay, So we're able now to solve for Q1. So you're going to say 2 times 3Q1, that is 6Q1. So you're going to have 100 minus 6Q1 equals 4Q1. So we can solve and get for Q1. Okay, so we group like terms together. So we're going to say 100 equals 4Q1 plus 6Q1. I'm going to have 100 here. So 4Q1 plus 6Q1, that is 10Q1. Okay. So to get the value of Q1, you divide both sides by 10. So 100 divided by 10 is 10. So Q1 equals 10. Okay. Any questions? Q1 equals 10. So that's the first profit maximizing quantity. If this firm produces 10 units, it will maximize profits. Any questions before we go to the next? Before we get Q2. Okay. So if we remember this expression, okay, if we remember this expression, Q2 equals 2Q1, we're going to bring it back here also again. All right. And we're going to say Q2 equals 2Q1. So we already know what Q1 is. So we just substitute this 10 here. So it's going to, our expression is going to read Q2 equals, no, I've been seeing here when we dropped it down, it came Q2 equals 2Q1 when we simplified it. So Q1 is 10. So 2 times 10, that is 20 units. All right, that is 20 units. Okay, so the overall production, which is Q here. Okay, remember Q equals Q1 plus Q2. We can even use Q equals 3Q1. You still get the same answer. So our overall Q equals Q1 plus Q2. Okay, so these are this Q1 is the profit maximizing quantity for facility 1. This Q2 is the profit maximizing quantity for facility 2. So the overall profit maximizing quantity for both facilities is, we are going to say 10 plus 20, that gives us 30 units. Right, colleagues? Yes. So remember, with these type of questions, whenever you have two marginal costs, just remember the first thing you need to do is you have to express overall Q in terms of Q1 or Q2. So in order to find that expression, first equate the first marginal cost to the second marginal cost. So you can find out, okay, Q1 equals what Q2, or Q2 equals what, how much of Q1. So that when you go back to your total quantity, you can express Q in terms of one variable. Okay. Once you're able to express Q in terms of one variable, then you get that variable, and then you can get the other variable. Yes. Any questions? Okay. Number three, determine the profit maximizing price. Mhm. If you want, yes, yes. If we wanted, yes, yes. If we wanted here, we would have expressed this would have been Q2, yeah, Q2, and then would have replaced T. Okay. Mhm. So the profit maximizing price, since we already have the profit maximizing quantity, so we just come back to the original formula. P equals 100 minus Q. Okay, so the profit maximizing price is just going to be 100 minus 30. Remember, Q equals 30. So the profit maximizing price, 100 minus 30, is going to be 70 kwacha. That is the profit maximizing price. Okay. Yes. Any questions, colleagues?